look into your eyes, I see we're out of time. I guess no one's to blame, nobody crossed the line. I guess we couldn't see, somehow we couldn't feel. Maybe we rose too fast, maybe we got too high. But I remember days I wonder we were always gonna last. Yeah, I do remember tears and the laughter. How could we fall so fast?
Good morning everyone, welcome back to the Nature Patch. My name is Robyn. I'm in a little bit of a different location starting off this video. I'm actually in our office and I am purposefully in here this morning because I am sorting out all of my seeds. I am ready to begin starting some seeds for kind of starting to get into the autumn season, and I thought I would share with you what I'm starting and what I will be throwing in the garden. Now, I am well aware that my seed organizing little stash is not the most organized it could be. There's some really awesome different seed organizers out there and just organizing systems in general that I don't use, but I plan on doing in the near future. For now, I've just got them all in bags and they're all kind of neatly separated into their respective groups. But I thought I would pick out a few that I'm going to be sowing today and also just kind of take you on a little bit of a garden vlog. I haven't really done one of these in a while where I kind of just take you along a few of the different things that I have to do in the garden. So it'll kind of be like a garden with me style video. Thankfully, we have had quite a bit of rain lately, so the garden is looking nice and plump and beautiful. However, we are expecting some really hot days in the next few days, which is really disappointing because I thought we were out of that high 30s summer weather. Apparently not, and I was wrong. So I'm going to be pushing back a few things that I'll be planting, but I'll share with you what they'll be anyway. I'm just going to wait a few days till after the hot weather. Right, so I'm going to go behind me and I literally have like seeds everywhere in this room and try and sort through and pick some out that I want to plant. All right, hopefully that is bright enough for you to see. This is my box of seeds. And it really is a box of happiness. And I'm not ashamed. I'm not ashamed about it. It's ridiculous, but I feel like a lot of gardeners, and hopefully you can relate, but diving into your seed collection is honestly one of the most happy times. It's something that I really look forward to doing when I have to go through all of my seeds, and I don't actually mind reorganizing a lot of them and seeing what I have and seeing what I can plant. And I have picked out quite a few seeds that I just want to put in the ground. Some of them I'm not going to be starting in little pots. I'm just going to be putting them in the ground in spaces. So in terms of some of the videos that I've been doing, such as what to grow and sow in like the month of January and February and all of the different months that I've been doing for a subtropical climate, February is going to be the same pretty much as the last one that I did. So I think when I move into March, I'll do another specific video on what you can grow and sow in March. But for now, I'm going to be planting lots of different random stuff. One of the things though that did change is that I'll be planting some root crops, and that's because I want to be filling out some of the spaces that I have in the garden with a lot of root crops. And I'm going to be planting a lot of radishes, which typically I wouldn't plant up until usually March or so because they get a lot of bug pressure and I just find they don't do too much. But I really want to get some of these in the ground to, eating them will be fantastic, but I also just want to use them as a soil builder to be able to break up some of the different soil and have their roots go down and provide organic matter to a lot of the garden beds. So I'm going to be planting some of the Easter egg mix of radishes, also some of the, I think it's called champion, don't know, radishes. I'm also going to try some turnips. Literally, I've never had success with turnips, but I want to just, again, do it for the organic matter. In some areas of the garden, I'm also going to be planting some more cover crops as well. So I just use usually fenugreek and the cover crop that I get from the seed collection, mainly because it's pretty cheap and you get quite a lot of seeds. I will rattle off some of the other plants I'm going to be putting in the ground. I am going to be planting some more zinnias to have around in the garden. Some purple plum radish as well. Echinacea. I'm going to be planting quite a few rows of rocket. Some tansies, more lettuce. And what else have we got? Oh, and I also really want to find some calendula seeds because I really want to get them in the ground as well. Oh, and probably some more bush beans as well. I hope you enjoyed just me rattling off the things that I'm going to plant. I will take you down to the garden now and share where I'm planting these things, but definitely make sure they have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever kind of beverage you would like to drink while watching this video. Today I am a little tired and I'm going for a coffee in this beautiful blue mug that I got for Christmas but seem to be using quite a lot for myself. Coffee tastes so good this morning. So I will take you down to the garden and share with you what is happening and where I'm going to be planting a lot of these seeds. So the first job that I have to do today is actually do something with this compost that I pulled out of one of the compost tumblers the other day. So I've got one full wheelbarrow of this gorgeous, really rough compost. Into this compost bin, I was adding quite a lot of rough mulch that we had just because we had it on hand. So naturally there is going to be like some bigger pieces within it. But they're quite spongy, which is good. So what I'm going to be doing with this is using it as a mulch on some of these garden beds behind me. And I think I just want to do that first because I really want to get rid of this and put it on the garden to feed the plants. There are going to be some seeds in here that might be germinating, but I will put another little layer of mulch over the top of this to hopefully prevent them from taking over the garden bed. Okay, so I have mulched pretty much everything that I want to mulch down here. I love working with fresh compost. One of the reasons is that this soil here is just really starved of organic matter and nutrients and life. And just having a look through the compost right now, I can see so many different bugs and movement in the compost. The compost actually starts to make sounds if you're really close to a compost bin, and if yours is making sounds, that is definitely a good thing. So it means all of those different bugs are working their way and eating away at different things and producing kind of that black gold, that really rich dark material that you see that I have put out onto the garden beds. So this is predominantly how I usually like to use compost, is to top dress all of the garden beds with it. Occasionally I'll mix it in with some potting mix if I am potting up some plants to give it some extra nutrients, but mainly I like to just put it around the plants as just a nice top dress, and then every time you water it, all of that nutrients can leach down into the soil, and gradually as you keep piling on the organic matter in this area, it'll just continue to build and create really awesome soil. So everything in the garden here is looking pretty nice after the rain. There's a few things struggling, and I've kind of said to myself, I don't want to stress too much about it, because it's definitely a process with building this area into a garden. Going from an area which is completely bare to having a garden which is really high in producing fruits and vegetables is really, really hard, and that's okay to not succeed in your first kind of go of planting a few things. So I'm trying to say to myself, even if I get like 1 or 2 things grown from this area, each time I keep putting on compost and keep putting on mulch and different amendments, the soil is just going to get better and better, and we'll hopefully see more and more produce coming out from this garden. Hello, Annie. Do you want to say hello? Got a little girl down here as well, just keeping me company. And yeah, as gardeners, it can be super overwhelming and really underwhelming, the amount that you get from an area when you start out a garden. I mean, it looks like I have a lot of plants here, but a lot of them are really struggling, and that's kind of the truth. The zucchinis are really struggling with bug pressure at the moment. It was really dry, and then it was really wet as well, so a lot of the flowers have just fallen off. What else is going wrong? The corn is still struggling a little bit, and things just look a little bit sick around the garden, and that is okay. Usually a lot of these problems are really to do with the soil and the fact that the plant isn't thriving in the soil that it has. So the plant generally just becomes weaker in its root system. It's not able to kind of grab up as much nutrients as it can. It's probably not enough nutrients there for it to grab. And then when it doesn't do that, it grows in a way where it's putting all of its energy into being able to survive and maintain and, get all those nutrients, rather than putting a lot of the energy into, say, the leaves and the flowers and the fruits, and being able to be resilient against different pests. It's not even worrying about that. It's just worrying about how to survive and how to do the things that it knows how to do. Plants are really, really intelligent, and they will thrive when they can. And just unfortunately in this garden right now, there's a lot of things that are holding the plants back. So as we continue to build this soil here, hopefully we'll just see more and more progress each time we plant something. Speaking of which, I am planning on putting some radishes on the sides of some of these beds where I have some space. So I think I'm going to create some little rows there now and pop some radishes in, and hopefully we'll get some rain later today, and that can all help out the garden a little bit, and any of the seeds that I plant. I also just wanted to say a big hello to any new people who have recently subscribed to this channel. And any of you who have come over from Marty's channel, I did an interview with him the other week, and that was super, super fun to talk about kind of gardening and permaculture. And it was really just nice to, have someone else to chat to about things that we both love. And I think a few of you have come over from his channel, so hello, I'm sure you'll know who you are. We always have a cup of tea or a coffee or some other beverage on our videos. I also have a few different links down in the description box if you would like to support this channel as well. If you want to help me out and even buy me a coffee, there's always some links in the description box below. Making videos is such an awesome thing, and I love to do it. It does take a lot of time and effort though, and it is always nice to get a little bit of support, whether that is monetary in the form of buying me a cup of coffee or even just liking and sharing the video. All of that means so much to me, and it really helps me to keep making all these videos for free and providing all of these resources for you as well, or just giving you something to relax with. So it means so much, and thank you for all of your support so far. Okay, let's get these seeds in the ground. So I've managed to inoculate the garden with a few more seeds. I went with just one row of radishes. I I like eating radishes, but I find when you plant too many, you just have way too many to be able to eat, and then I get over radishes. So I'm going to wait a little bit before I plant another row and just kind of slowly get into the succession planting of radishes and hopefully have radishes throughout all of winter as well. Again, this is mainly to be able to have some root crops in here to be able to improve the soil, and any radishes we get are always a benefit to eat. So I've planted a row of them behind me here, and basically how I did that was to just push aside the mulch and pinch into the cardboard layer, because I do have some cardboard here still decomposing, and then get to the soil underneath there. So I've done that for a row of radishes. And I also put a little bit of compost on there as well, just to give it a little bit of extra nutrients. And then I have gone around the garden and basically have just been putting little holes here and there and everywhere, full of different lettuce and different flowers as well. So I was planting some echinacea and some zinnias, and I planted a bunch of cos lettuce, again from the seeds that I've had saved for ages and just really want to keep using it up because the lettuce is absolutely delicious. And because I have so much space around, I've just been putting little holes around in the garden and then sprinkling some seeds into those holes, using the same method that I did for the radishes as well. So hopefully the garden behind me will have little green bits popping up all around where it isn't green, and yeah, we can use that space a little bit better to kind of have that food forest style of having an undergrowth as well, being the lettuce of things that are edible. I think I'm actually going to go upstairs and have a bit of a break because it's the middle of the day, and it's getting very hot whenever the sun decides to pop out. So I'm going to go up and probably have some lunch, and then I'll take you up to the other garden area, and I need to prepare some of the beds up there to plant some more tomatoes in there and get them a little bit tidied up. Also, I was going to say, these are some of the plants that I picked up from Bunnings. This was Scott's little Valentine's Day treat for me. But I picked up some more alyssums and some oregano and some beautiful blue salvias as well. And I'm going to be planting these all throughout the vegetable patch that I just showed. Just going to wait until it gets a little cooler for these ones. So the garden bed here behind me is a hugelkultur style bed, which means that I have filled up the base with a lot of larger wooden logs and other different sticks and things that we had lying around that slowly decay over time. One thing that means is that the bed sinks over time as well. Slowly all of the little kind of pieces and organic matter fall into place and sink down towards the bed, and generally as things break down they become a lot smaller as well. So the first crop that I had in here was a crop of bush beans and also some cucumbers, which was completely experimental, and we had some really delicious cucumbers from some of these plants. There's still a few little ones on them, but there's a lot of bug pressure. We also had some bush beans in there, which I'm going to pick the rest of the beans on those plants now and basically just chop and drop all of the plants on top of this. Then I'm going to fill it up with some of that compost as well and plant some tomatoes in here. Like every other part of the garden, this is just all a work in progress, but I was really happy with the success that we had in here from all of the beautiful lettuce, beans and cucumbers as well. Alright, so I have spread out the beautiful compost on the bed, and I know in another video I showed you kind of the perfect size and what you want a tomato to look like when you want to plant it. And this is not it, but I'm still going to plant these. I had a lot of tomatoes left over. I just didn't really have enough space, and I thought I could get rid of some more by giving some to friends, but I have lots left over. So I'm going to pretty heavily plant these into this bed here, and what I'm going to do is just really trim them, and what I'm going to do is take all of the sickly looking leaves off, to hopefully plant them down a little bit deeper as well. Right, so the tomatoes are now planted. One other thing that I am going to do with the tomatoes is actually just make sure that there's no flowers or fruit starting to set, just because I want the plant to put as much energy into the roots as possible rather than just starting to flower. I want it to get used to these conditions and the bed that it's in. I've also done the cover crop for the bed next to the tomatoes. So I've put a mixture of a green manure, a winter kind of autumn mix, and fenugreek in there. And this bed is starting to look really, really nice. And I'm hoping that when the green manure grows up, I can just cut it and chop it and drop it. And it'll just add even more organic matter into that bed there. I just really loosely kind of fluffed up the top layer of the soil and then put the seeds on and kind of raked them in, I suppose. I'm really not being too pedantic about it. I just want to get them in there and have something growing in there so that the soil can be covered. The last job for today is fertilizing the garden. Now, I've done the step 1 to the fertilizer, which is pretty much putting compost around the plants that I want to have some food and to be fertilized. But the other fertilizer that I am going to be applying is some organic chicken manure pellets. This stuff absolutely stinks. But if you're really weird and like me and actually kind of like the smell, then you'll be fine. I really don't follow too much of any rules around putting this. I just put a sprinkle on here and there where I feel that it needs it. So this stuff is really, really high in nitrogen. It's also got phosphorus in the material as well. And it's just overall really great for your garden. I really don't care what some people use for fertilizers generally, as long as it's something kind of organic. I'm not a really big fan of the inorganic kind of pelletized fertilizers, but hey, if that's all you've got, then that's all you've got. I find this is a really affordable solution, and you can get really big bags of this from Bunnings for like $17 or so. So I'm going to put this on the entire garden and just do a sprinkle here and there. Starting with the cover crop bed, you really want to treat your cover crops as a crop and to look after them, feed them, water them, and that's how you're going to get the best results when you put cover crops on a really bare bed. So I am going to finish fertilizing the garden and then hopefully be done for the day. It has been a really nice day out in the garden, but it is just so humid today that I've been kind of having to go in and outside, back into the aircon and then back outside. So I'm going to get on to doing this. I did also leave one of the cucumbers in with the tomatoes just because it has a few more little fruit on it. But yeah, they've been in there for quite a while and had their day. So once we pick that cucumber, I'll take that out and put some trellises up for the tomatoes too. I'm aware I didn't show you all of the seeds that I had planned on planting today, but throughout the week I'll just be putting them in here and there to fill in different areas of the bed, such as I'll put a lot of lettuce around the tomatoes and in other areas of the garden. So I might even put some root crops around the tomatoes. I'm not too sure yet, but we'll see how we go. I really hope you enjoyed this garden vlog and got to see a little bit about what I get up to in the garden. There's a lot of jobs to get done, and I'm trying to do something each and every day to stay on top of it all. So I hope you're having a lovely day wherever you are in the world. Definitely make sure to like this video if you have made it this far, and I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe for more videos like this. Thank you again so much for watching, and until my next video, happy gardening everyone. Bye!